4, verse 18 to 22. Matthew 4, verse 18 to 22. Okay, let me get there. All right. Matthew 4, verse 18 to 22. Just keep your digital thumbprint or whatever you do, whatever you use, your Bible, whatever. There, just keep it open there. Right? Here's a question for you. Do you wish that in 2024 you had a tour guide? Do you wish that when it came to 2024 you had a tour guide? A few years ago, we went to Antalya, Turkey, and one of the things that I like to do whenever I go on a holiday is I like my excursions. I like to go and see a place that I've never seen before so I can fully experience the place for myself. I remember going to Jamaica, and as I'm in Jamaica, I'm Zambian, but people in Jamaica thought I was Jamaican. I remember going to New York, and people in America thought I was American, and I'm like, hey, all right, if you think I'm American, that's fine. So I like to go and see stuff. This is just me. Nicole wanted to be at the hotel resort with the rest of the family that was there, and everybody else wanted to relax. See, I have a problem. I can't just stay somewhere for too long. I have to get out and go and see something, or I become a problem to everybody else. And so Nicole's like, look, you want to go and see this excursion? Go by yourself. Go and check it out. So I decided, all right, I want to go and do this by myself. I had a couple of options. Get out of the resort, get out of the hotel, and just go gallivanting by myself, right? Just keep walking and minding my own business. But I am in Turkey. And I wanted to see the history of Turkey, but I was also nervous because of the history of Turkey at the same time. So if I go by myself and I go missing, no one is coming back to look for me. So I thought to myself, all right, let me get a tour guide. So I found one, and I went to the reception at the hotel, and they gave me a list of things I could be able to go and see. So I found a tour guide. And depending on the tour guide that you get, your experience of the excursion is going to be great, or it's going to be shockingly bad. For me, it was fantastic. Because, one, I was the only black person in the entire trip, right? So I'm feeling nervous, right? Because I'm like, hey, there's no people who look like me here. And the thing about the tour guide is that he was so versatile. Like, he spoke German, he spoke Dutch, and then every time he was having conversation, he noticed I was from England, and he's like, okay, I'm going to have to interpret for this guy in English. And he knew all the hotspots and the places to go. I mean, he would even come and check up on me because I'm by myself. I wanted to be by myself. But he will come and sit next to me and ask me all kinds of questions as I'm experiencing the scenery. He knew where the dangerous locations were, and so he was able to navigate us in all the places that we were going. At the end of the day, because of my tour guide, I was able to arrive home safely. 2024 was the first time you experienced 2024. You've never experienced 2024 before. It was the first time you experienced it. And I can put my money on it that none of you have been in 2025 before it came up. This is the first time you were in 2025. Here's the question. How did you navigate 2024? How did you navigate it? I bet for some of you, 2024 was the best year ever. Some of you got that dream job you were praying about, craving for. You got into that relationship that you thought they are the love of your life. Some of you, it became complicated and difficult. Some of you had relationship breakdowns in 2024. Some of you had mental breakdowns in 2024, right? And it gets difficult and it gets challenging and hard. Some of you were dealing with complications at work and yourself, right? There are stories you experienced in 2024 that you really don't want to share. And maybe even if you're married, you are still trying to navigate, how do I tell my spouse about last year? 2025 is way different from 2024. See, I believe in 2025, you want opportunities. I bet when that clock hit midnight and you were in 2025, some of you who are great planners, right? Some of you who were good at sorting things out, who cannot live life without having a focus, you already were working on a plan and a destination. I believe some of you want to become better physically, relationally, mentally, financially, socially. You want to experience success and have significance. Some of you, all you want this year to be is drama-free. Like, you're so tired of fighting, right? You're so tired of people telling you lies. You just want 2025 to be a year of peace for you, where things that you've been hoping for a long time happens. You want this year to be right, and you want to get it right. Because I think getting it right means that you are better for it, your families are better for it, and ultimately you feel better because of it. So my question, how are you going to ensure that happens? For some of us, how are we going to beat those addictions? And I mean your addiction to your phone, right? How are you going to beat that one? Because some of you can't sleep without seeing what's going on in TikTok or what's going on in Instagram. And in fact, has this ever happened to you? You've just seen it. 3 minutes later, your hand just opens and you're like, what's going on here? Your hand, you've just put your phone down, but something is triggered in your mind and you picked up your phone again. You know you've already seen it, but you want to see it again. How are you going to deal with that simple addiction of not being addicted to your phone? How are you going to deal with the money issue that you've been trying to manage for a while? How are you going to repair that relationship you've been worried about, or take that risk that you hope will pay off? What are you trusting in to make this year a better year? And let's all be honest, for most of us, it is 1 month in, and the heat and the pressure is on. That's right, Joy. See, let's keep it 100. Some of us are already stressed, man. I ain't got kids, but I've got lots of friends and family who have them. And moms and dads, I feel for you, because you can get stressed out. And especially trying to navigate the complexity of how you raise your kids in a world that's really driving them left when you want your kids to go right and they think left is the right way to go, right? And you're trying to work out your mind. Some of you praying mothers are praying hard, and every time you come home, you think the child is manifesting like the devil, and you're thinking, Jesus, what in the world is going on, right? And you may laugh about it, but sometimes you cry about it. And for you, fathers, you're trying to do that which is right in your home, but sometimes it feels as though that you've got the Midas touch, not with gold, but everything just turns and breaks down. You want a way forward, and sometimes life is stressful, and it's difficult, and it's challenging. What if there was an alternative? What if you can navigate 2025 way better than you did in 2024? Because our text we're about to read introduces us to a different way. It's a radical idea, but it may just change the trajectory of your life. Let's turn our Bibles to Matthew 4, verse 18 to 22. It reads, "As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. 'Come, follow me,' Jesus said, 'and I will send you out to fish for people.' At once they left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in the boat with their father Zebedee, preparing their nets. Jesus called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him." In our text, we are introduced to four fishermen. I want you to know that fishing was a major industry in Galilee, and this profession was their livelihood and life. Year in and year out, that's what they did. They provided for their family through fishing. That was their industry. That was the thing that they would go out to and they would do, and it would give them satisfaction, and they would see results. And sometimes they didn't see the results they wanted to see, but they were good at what they did, to the point that as they were moving forward in life, they would have used that to feed their family and also to feed themselves. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, this man appears. He's not a fisherman. He's not a theologian. He's not a doctor. He's not a scientist. He's just an ordinary man, but he's more than just a man. And so as they're working and doing their thing, he comes out to them. And his appearing changes everything. Jesus came into the picture, and those things were changed. He challenged how they saw the world. He challenged what they believed was a way of life. They had grown up in this. And suddenly, this man Jesus comes in and summons these four men to follow him. I want you to know this was a radical thing. Because to follow me, Jesus was saying, meant for these four men that they would have to leave their occupation and literally follow Jesus wherever he would take them as his disciples. It implied permanency. You follow me and you stay with me. Consider that. Imagine you were at work one day and a man comes up to you as you are busy in your work and says to you, "Follow me." And all suddenly you now have to follow him. If you work for the profession I work for the hospital, if I get up one day, somebody says, "Mukaya, follow me." And I get up and I get out of my office, and then my manager goes, "Where are you going?" I'm following him. And then it's like, "But you got a job to do." I'm following him. And then you're like, and then it's like, "You ain't getting paid." Oh, I'm still following him. I want you to understand the difficulty of that. Because what we don't have is the other things that are playing in their lives in this story that makes this call or this summoning very challenging for them. Because for them, it meant a change in the direction of their entire life. For them, it could have been a family business. especially for John and his brother. John and his brother James, the sons of Zebedee. The Bible tells us that their father was in the boat with them. And there were other servants in them. Imagine a father hearing his sons come and tell him, Dad, I know you have worked hard all your life for us. And I know that your goal was to leave an inheritance for us. But we have met a man. And therefore, even though you've had sons to pass your skills and talents to, we are not going to really use those skills and talents anymore. We are following this man. It changes everything. It changes their aspiration, their desires in life. It changes how they are going to operate and functions. And Jesus is changing their ideals and challenging their dreams. The call of Jesus to these four men is no different to the call of Jesus that he's making today. He is calling you as an individual to follow him. He's calling them to navigate life with him and no longer alone. Instead of directing where they go, you know what he's saying? I am taking charge of your life. See, for the Middle Eastern way of life, that wasn't strange, because they understood that when a rabbi comes into the picture, they knew what this call is. You know what is strange and is unsettling for us? Is us in the 21st century, especially in the Western world. This idea of following Jesus or giving control of your entire life to Jesus is unsettling for some of us. And I'll tell you why it's unsettling for some of us. We are told that we are to figure out our own paths, right? Find our own feet. Parents will say to their kid, you're with me until you are 18, and afterwards, unless you're a girl. But all the boys, get out, right? Because go and figure life out for yourself. Make a way for yourself. When I was in school, one of the things that I had to develop and understand is that me going to school wasn't just about having fun, right? It was about learning, and the reason why I was to learn in school was so that I can get a good job, have a good career, and contribute to society, right? For many of us, we started 2025 with a desire to fulfill our dreams. And it is with these lenses that many of us select opportunities, right? Do relationships, pick careers, determine where we live. Hey, by the end of the day, it is my life. Why in the world should I give it to somebody else to control it? That's what we say. Have you ever heard this word, authentic self? Have you ever heard that term? The idea of an authentic self is, hey, I want to do that which is consistent with me as an individual. Or this other word, finding myself, right? And I'm not opposed to being your authentic self. You should be your authentic self. And you should be aware of yourself. Have you heard the word? I'm just trying to do me, right? Trying to do me, meaning that, hey, I can't focus on what you're about, and the decision that I'm going to make in my life is all about trying to do me, right? Or the other phrase, these are all the same phrases, we just remix it every now and again, which is my the best version of myself, right? When we use those words, what we are really saying is, when it comes to careers, decision making, life choices, and how I do relationship, I want to do that which aligns best to who I am and what works with me. To some degree, that is not a problem. But if you are going to navigate life, you have to assess whether you are navigating life on the basis of your authentic self, of what works for you. Because you're going to make decisions in life and do relationship that just works for you. And what becomes very unsettling is when Jesus now comes and says, I want you to follow me. Because you now have a tension. A part of you want the best life for you that you think is your way of doing life and doing relationship. And this man from Galilee comes up to you and invites you to follow him because he is saying, I don't want you to do life your way. I want you to do life my way. I don't want you to follow your own desires. I am asking you to follow me. Here's the thing about doing life our way. Here's the thing about our authentic selves. And I think you know this. When you put you at the center of your decisions and your relationship, you experience a lot of stress, don't we? Because the pressure becomes on for you to make something out of your life. And we are so bad at this. Oh, in other words, we're so good at this. We see somebody else who are further down the road of life than we are, and we decide, I wish I had what they had. I wish I just got what they got. And here's the thing, and so because you want to achieve and you want to go forward, you know what begins to happen? You begin to work hard. And relationships begin to be affected and life begins to happen. And you, because deep down, all you are thinking is, I gotta do me. I gotta get me. And I gotta find me. That is hard life. Because some of us are crashing down. And some of us are breaking down. Not because the world is evil. The world is evil, but not just because of that, but because we have bought into this idea that the more I have is the more I am. The more I possess, then there is so much value and worth in me. And many times we are stressed out when we look at a bank account and it is less than we expected it to be. Because here's the thing. I gotta do something because the pressure is always on me. I've gotta be the best mom I can be because the pressure is on me. I gotta be the best friend I can be. I gotta be the best co-workers. And we make decisions in life guiding us. But at the center of us is our desire for authentic self. But Jesus comes to these four men and gives them an alternative that we should find shocking. Follow me and I will make you. He summons them to follow him in such a way that he takes the responsibility of making something out of them. Come on. That should just be an easy way. All he's saying is, if you follow me and you cooperate with me, I'm going to own making your life something. I'm going to own looking after you. If you decide to follow me and you've got a difficult relationship that you need to unpack, because sometimes in relationships we need to have difficult conversations, he's saying, hey, I got you. All you've got to do is be willing to unpack the relationship my way. One of the things he will say, hey, if you know somebody's got an issue with you, don't wait for them to come to you, because you're the most spiritual one, right? He says, because you're the most spiritual one, his way is that you go to them. See, now you're like, Mukaya, I was listening to you, but right now you've just lost me. You want me. They offended me. And you want me to go and address it with them? Nah, I'm going to wait for them to come to me. But Jesus' way is different. See, I don't want to lie to you. You can come to church all the time, every Sunday, and you should, because there's insight and information and direction and community and all of that. But you're going to miss out if you do not come to this discovery that the basis of Christian life is following Jesus and doing life his way. That the best way you're going to navigate this year is if you decide to give Jesus the keys and go to the passenger side, and I mean the rear passenger seat, and give him and say, Jesus, you got this. Do you know if Jesus is in the driving seat of your life, you can sleep in challenges? Because how are you going to navigate pain this year? The best way you can navigate problems this year, the best way you can navigate success this year, that it doesn't go to your head, right? Because come on, some of us are going to get that dream job and we're going to go, Jesus, I'll see you in a couple of months. But the best way you can navigate marriage, parenting, is for you to just give Jesus the keys. I am going to love my children the way Jesus wants me to love them. I'm going to love people around me the way Jesus wants me to love them. I'm going to navigate, right, my difficult relationship the way Jesus wants me to navigate it. I'm going to navigate my time and my efforts and my work, not based on me as an individual, but because I'm following Jesus, I am going to give him the keys to how I work. And what you will discover is the very thing you have been longing for. Your life will move forward, and you would have more peace, and you will experience a drama-free life. See, consider with me as I close. Consider with me. These 4 men, had they never said yes, we won't read about them. And some of you won't be naming your kids after them. You will be naming your kids after somebody else. These men would have never gone to Asia. They would have never seen any miracles. They've never seen things happen. Their lives would have remained as they are started on the boat. When they followed Jesus, they were able to go further than their boats would have taken them. And maybe, just maybe, the very life you are looking for, the very thing that you are aiming for this year, will be found when you follow this man. Because this man, Jesus, has decided that he's taking the responsibility of building your character. He has promised to be with you when life crumbles and decisions are made. He has promised to guide you through the complexities of your circumstances. But there's just one thing you need to do. The one thing that these people did that you must do. Okay, not one thing. Let's say 2 things. 2 things you need to do. Because the call of Jesus always requires one step, a response. You must be willing. And I know you in church and you say, hey, Mukaya, 2024, I'm a Christian, I serve God, and that's fantastic. We should give you a medal because the Christian life sometimes is really hard. Come on, people who've been serving Jesus for a long time. You know how challenging and difficult you can. And I tell you this, if you've been a Christian for a long time, I guarantee you the best decisions you've ever made was when you listened to Jesus. And the worst decisions you've ever made is when you listen to yourself and other people. And some of your regrets, some of your biggest regrets are the decisions you decided to make when you knew that the way of Jesus was completely different. See, I have come to a realization in my relationship, in my family, in myself, in marriage, that I am better for it when I follow Jesus. My house is better for it. My work is better for it. The people who come to me and ask me questions about the Christian life, I don't give them my ideas because I'm like, hey, I have tried my ideas and they failed. I mean, in the sense it's failed. But what I've noticed and what I've found consistent in people's lives is when they have the second thing, the courage to do life Jesus' way. So you got to respond is the first thing you've got to do. Just as you responded as a Christian in 2024 that Jesus, I'm going to do it your way, in 2025 you need to go somewhere privately and say, Jesus, all right, I'm bringing everything back, my dreams, my hopes, and everything I want to see, and I'm going to do it your way. I did it right at the beginning of the year. And what I'm finding interesting is that I sleep better. I sleep. Come on, some of you need to sleep. You haven't been sleeping for a while. Dreams are bothering you, and you're waking up wondering what's going to happen in your future. When Jesus has simply said, hey, if you follow me, I got you. I will take care of you. I will give you what you need to say. Isn't that a better way of life? Isn't that a more stress-free way? At least if it all goes crazy, you can go to God. God, you know what? I just did what you said. And if it doesn't work out, God, it's your fault. But you know God doesn't play around because he uses bad circumstances, right? For whose benefit? For those who love him. He doesn't do that for everyone. He does it for those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. So my question for you is, how are you going to navigate 2025? You're going to do it alone, or you're going to make a decision that I'm going to follow him? Jesus is calling you to do something greater that will make you better and no doubt make you better at doing life this year. I mentioned courage. Dr. A.R. Bernard has wonderfully defined it as to bring your mind, your will, and emotions in alignment for the task at hand, for the goals that you have set. Courage means to bring your will, your mind, and emotions in alignment for the task at hand, for the goal that you have set. This year, if you want to navigate life successfully, you will need to align the way you think, your will and determination, and your emotions to the reality that you are going to navigate this life with Jesus, this year with him. And yes, you will have some challenges. It's one of the things you can guarantee because you experienced it in 2024. But you can do it better this year. You can do it better. If you navigate your life with Jesus, you will discover lessons, rests, and experience peace that you did not experience last year. So what's your choice? Doing it by yourself, that means doing marriage your way, relationship your ways, and kids your way. Or, I'm just going to give him the keys. Let him drive. My father, and I close with this, my father when I was young, I saw one day I'm coming out of my house. My father's leaving his house. A car pulls up. This was for his work. It's a nice car. I see him. He instead of getting in the front, you know where he gets in? Someone comes in, gets in the back, opens the door, he walks in, and this was in a cab. The chauffeur, he knew where the destination was. He knew where my father needed to go. He knew all the roads and stuff like that. So my father will come in dressed, suited and booted, ready for work. Chauffeur opens the door. My father gets in and he takes him on his journey. It was the responsibility of the chauffeur to ensure that he drives right because of the passenger that is in the car. My father could relax, could read, prepare for his days and his meetings because, hey, he was being driven around. He will come back home safely because, hey, he was being driven around. My father had peace. When my father was in the driving seat, he was a good driver. But he then had responsibility to navigate. For some of us who drive, right, you know the stress that happens because somebody's driving recklessly, boom, and then you want to say things that are unchristian, right? But when you're in a taxi, sometimes you get a bit edgy, right? Because you're wondering, can this taxi driver drive properly? But Jesus is not like any taxi driver or chauffeur. He not only knows what 2025 is like, he knows what the rest of your life is like. And in fact, not only does he have the ability to navigate troubles, he has the ability to walk over things that you really shouldn't be walking over. He can take the little of your year and manifest into something wonderful. Isn't it therefore wisdom to say, as for me, I don't know about anyone else. I'm going to give him the keys. Because if danger comes my way, he got me. Things I don't see coming, he done seen it coming. And if he decides to take me through it, then you know that he's got a purpose for it. I can relax and be the passenger. And just do what he does and say what he say. And people will look at me and go, oh, ain't you wise? And isn't your life great? Ain't you going through that circumstance like a real Christian? And it's like, it's not me. I want to introduce you to my tour guide, Jesus, because he's been helping me navigate 2025. Maybe you should know him. Maybe, just maybe, you should know him. And I guarantee you will be better for it. Can I have every head bowed and every eye closed in respect to the person next to you?